making a pool plan for yourself could be relatively difficult because sometimes you do not understand what makes this card good, what makes this card bad, or what makes this Uma very good for parenting, what makes my Oshi works, etc. etc. I figured to make this video now since there is a down period. Nobody wants to really play the game right now because making a track is very time consuming, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So let's take a look on how to make a proper pool plan for you to understand, oh, which exactly should I do in order for me to get, oh, this pool plan, I'm very proud of it, I'm going to stick with it for a very long time until you get like very close to the current day JP. Once that reaches on global, which is like 2028 relatively, so you're just making a pool plan for like the next year and a half essentially. So you want to ask yourself a question: who is your Oshi slash Oshis? And the second question: what strategy is it in general that you want to use in the meta perspective, which is champions meeting? And what strategy that you are planning to use in PvP, which is basically champions meeting overall? Because I have seen so many people talk about this point, which is mixing between two strategies. This is unfortunately very expensive and it's not mostly free to play friendly in the long term, especially if you are playing a pace chaser player, since in pace chaser player they do not really pull for anything for a really long time, and then suddenly they have like 6 banners and like 5 cards to pull for. So it is very expensive, especially if you are maintaining another strategy alongside of it. However, you could do something called transitioning between strategies, where let's say you are going to be playing as an encloser player, let's say for the first 3 years and a half until the release of Onsen Scenario in Global. Then you actually have the choice where, wait, I don't really like to play enclosers that much anymore, or you want to have a new taste in playing the game. Then you could actually just transition to a pace chaser player. It is very good to do that, to save yourself a lot of credits instead of maintaining two different strategies, because currently in the Japanese version, frontrunners are slightly still on the weaker end but still playable, light soldiers are decent, and then the meta is pace chasers. In the current day JP, and closers outside of two characters, being Orfever and Bayona Vista. Those two are very strong, but any other enclosers has a lot of negatives, and it can be difficult to get very good win rate with them, or basically getting results that you will be satisfied with. So once you hit that threshold of Onsen Scenario, you could be like, wait, I could just go to a different strategy and use different Umas that I like, but they are not relatively good as an encloser possession. That is pretty much it when it comes to the second point. And then 3 is going to be, what is the budget that you have? For example, are you a free to play player? Are you like a Anniversary Selector player where you only buy the selectors? Or you are just generally a whale? If you are a whale, then you don't really need a pull plan. I assume you will be able to just pull on most banners already, but I digress. Anyways, so that's pretty much it when it comes to point number 3, because in the future, if you buy the Anniversary Selector and save yourself the paid credits that you get it from the Anniversary Selectors, you could actually do paid step up banners in the far future, where it will allow you to get copies of cards that you yourself can select between which cards. So they just like put like 10 cards, and then like you have the choice to pick between the 10 of them. You can pick 2, and then when you pull, you have more odds of pulling those 2 cards, and sometimes it can be even guaranteed. So it is a very strong thing. So if you are looking at it from paid carrot perspective, if you are a spender, you could pretty much just save the carrots that you get from the universal selectors until the paid step up banners if you are looking to be a very long term player. And then, a completely unrelated note, but can you also buy the future passes, such as like the PD track for the trainer pass, spark rerolling, spark locking, etc., etc.? Those are basically what I would assume to be like between the average spender to a high spender slash whale. If you are able to buy the universal selectors and also maintain the trainer pass, the spark rerolling, and spark locking every single month. That's pretty much it when it comes to the budget aspect. And then this is the most important part. Don't randomly pull on any banners. Don't attempt to snack eat a random banner. Or do not just, oh, I'm mad at the game, I'm just going to do a temple. This basically is gambling, and you are going to waste so much carats, especially if you are going to be, oh, I'm returning back to the game. Then you don't have the carats. So you will be very far behind. So you just quit the game. That's pretty much it. Do not ever recklessly randomly pull on any banner. Especially if you know in the future there are going to be very good cards and you don't have the budget for a specific Uma. So let's say for example, you really like, I don't know, maybe like Wedding Karansha, but you don't have the budget to pull for her. It is better to skip her and use a second year anniversary selector on her with the paid if you are a paid player, or just wait until she gets a rerun. It's so much better than just randomly rage pulling on current, even though there is that small likelihood that you hit the jackpot and just get current Chan early. It's still a massive risk. I do not recommend recklessly pulling, especially if you are frustrated or angry at the game. If you are, then take the game off of your application list, then come back later once you feel much better. It's a game that you can pick up back and forth. You also could just do like one run pure a day, whereas like a character like Ogre Cab to just finish the day this quickly and then move on. That's pretty much it when it comes to the principles. The example that I'm going to show you, I did it for two reasons. I did it for a friend of mine because they are wanting to use the gold ship family, or like Stay Gold's entire family as their aces. And two, because I have found a specific person that I'm not going to mention by name that will probably watch this video. If you are, then hello. They are a solo ace and closer gold chip player, and I figured, hey, I have seen what they have as a pool plan, and I was like, wait, there could be improvements. I tried to reach out to them on Discord. Unfortunately, that did not properly work, so I'm going to make this regardless. So I'm doing it for basically two different people. Anyways, let's go with the plan that I have conducted. Has like somebody who has spent like a day reading cards, looking at like the Japanese version, what the Japanese people say. It doesn't really take that much time for you to get a pool plan, for you to get, oh, now I have everything that I want to have as a player that is going to play the enclosure strategy. So this is pretty much it. As you can clearly see, we have about 22 banners to pull for from now all the way to the release of the Forever Young and Casino Drive. So this is a very, very lengthy list. I'm not going to get into super detail every single banner. I'm going, like, it's gonna take a very long time. So they are right now playing as a person. So right now they are playing Gold Ship, and they want to use Project Luck Gold Ship and also sometimes Summer Gold Ship in between. So in general, this is a pool plan if you are looking at it from a perspective of a solo ace player. If not, then you could also pull on like Steampunk Narita Taishin if you like her, Narita Taishin, etc, etc. It just depends on your personal preference. So I'm just going to give you an enclosure example. I have already shown this, but here is the overall thing, okay? We are going to be pulling on Summer Gold Ship, then we could either pull on the Summer Marzinski or the Agiastikian banner. I personally recommend Agiastikian banner because at least you could use a crystal and also a ticket on Summer Marzinski and get like a speed card alongside of Agiastikian with Kita-san Black, because Gold Chip is a 0% speed increase. 0% speed growth Uma. Sorry, I have a problem when speaking. Anyways, if you are a player that does not have Mr. CB and Super Quick, then I would probably pull on Mr. CB and Super Quick if you are an encloser player. Measure Namano is no brainer. Then we have Jungle Pocket. I have just recently made a late surgery video. Enclosers can use this card. My Sticky is also, My Stick and El Condor Pasa are good banner to pull for, especially El Condor Pasa, because you're going to be using El Condor Pasa and Jungle Pocket until the release of Still in Love. Then you switch out Jungle Pocket for Still in Love. That's pretty much it when it comes to, in general, like as you can see. We have some Uma banners too, and it's mostly parents. So here, Naruto Top Road Christmas and Admire Vega Christmas, you are pulling for Admire Vega Christmas because her unique is very strong for the sprint, mile, and sometimes medium distance tracks. It depends on the final corner. And winning variation is very very strong. It has an inheritance or favor. If you are genuinely just like, oh, I want to pick a strong encloser, then pull Orfever. Orfever is just the only encloser in this entire period until Bayana Vista comes out. There is an actual top contender as an encloser. That is the only encloser that has like the highest ceiling between all enclosers for a very 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 long time. And then you also pull on other cards. So since we are using Gold Chip, what exactly is Gold Chip's unique is? You have to understand your Uma's kit well in order for you to put them at their highest potential. So over here we have original Gold Chip, which means that her unique activates in the 50 to 60% throughout the race if she is 6 or below in Champions Meeting Standard. So if you are 6 or below in the mid game, you proc this skill. Keep in mind that Daring Strike also exists, and you could combine both of them to get a lot of value. This is a very very good unique. And then we have Summer Gold Chip. Summer Gold Chip is a random point at the second half of the race. You will get target speed increase, which is lower than OG Gold Chip, but you proc 2 random rare skills. So as long as 2 rare skills have not been procced, when you proc this unique skill at a random point in the second half of the race, you also proc them. This character also, unironically, between all 3 Gold Chips, personally, I think she might be the best in terms of long term, because like I said earlier, unfortunately enclosers do fall off and they cannot recover currently because JP does not want to give them a real card for like 8 months straight, especially once the release of onsen scenarios like the final shopping block for most of the enclosers. This character at least has like a coping mechanism where you could just gamble on the 2 rare skills being good, because these 2, especially on sprint distance tracks, are pretty much uniqueless. These 2 characters, especially, there will be much better enclosers compared to Gold Chip. Then I would just probably recommend pulling on all 3 regardless. The Project Lark Gold Chip is a very strong Uma in the medium and long distance tracks only, because here is your unique skill. If the track is medium or long, if you are on the final corner and beyond and you have an overtake target, if you are 5th or below, you get a target speed increase of 0.35. If you had a late start, then you will get an additional 0.45 target speed increase instead. This character will come out after evolution skills comes out. This skill, or like this section of the skill, will proc because there is a gold skill which is the wet conditions gold version that is evolved to give you guaranteed late start in general. So this section in the medium and long distance tracks where the track is on a good condition, which is proccing good condition, you will have the full effect. Otherwise you have 0.35 target speed increase. So this is how to understand your Uma. Their unique skill is the most important thing about understanding your Uma, and Gold Ship is just an example over here, since I'm basically giving this to us somebody who either wants to solo ace with Gold Ship, or you just want to use the Stay Gold's family has your aces. So here is like an example, while also maintaining, you know, the enclosure like team in general. So this is my personal opinion on the three versions of Gold Ship. In medium and long, the Project Lark Gold Ship is better compared to regular Gold Ship. The Summer Gold Ship unfortunately is not good because her unique is a complete gamble and it's very effy. In Mile, you probably want to use the original Gold Ship because you have access to non-rotation width at that point, and you could get Encroaching Shadow. So original Gold Ship is going to be very, very strong. The Summer is probably going to be better than Project Lark because at least you have the two random gold skills that you proc the second half of the race, because this Uma is uniqueless outside of medium and long. If you run this character in Mile and Sprint, this character cannot proc her unique skill at all. And for Sprint is a gamble festa, so why not enhance it with even more gambling? So I think Summer Gold Ship is probably going to be the best one. That is pretty much it when it comes to understanding your Uma. And if you have multiple Ushis, you could also do the same principle, but you don't need to do medium, long, Mile, Sprint. It's like, oh, which one is the best one that I could use? Which is the second one is the best that I could use? Or if you're just somebody who looks by looks, oh, who's the cutest? I'm going to run. That's pretty much it. I hope this makes you understand more about your Uma. I know this video is not going to be mostly for everybody, but you can move along and basically understand and follow the principles to apply it for a frontrunner, pace chaser, or a late surger. I already have a video talking about each of these three strategies with what cards and also what Umas to pull for those three strategies. So in general, this is basically like, hey, an understanding of how to read basically your Uma's kit. Next up is going to be understanding the timeline cards that you will bring. This is going to be something that a lot of people get confused at, especially since a lot of people do not read most of the future cards because, oh, that's very, very far into the future. But I'll probably still recommend at least checking out how to understand which cards that you can have as a basic principle. So here is the current timeline. This is in the Grand Life scenario. Kita-san plus I guess Takeon. Maybe you could also cope borrow with Marzinski speed, because Gold Ship is 0% target speed increase, but this is basically it. Then you have the Kita-san Black and also Jungle Pocket. Jungle Pocket will replace I guess Takeon, because I guess Takeon struggles after the Grand Life scenario, and this is the Grandmaster scenario. Project Lark, you probably would use Jungle Pocket plus what is it called? It's called the Pasta Speed, sorry. I can't forget Uma's names. Then Duramante Speed. Duramante Speed is a very interesting card in general, but the gold skill is only locked into medium. And this card is 0 skill point bonus card, and in the future the game really pushes you to use cards that have skill point bonus. So I will probably just use this card as a borrow slot, because in most areas you will probably not need to borrow anything down here. Then you have the Still Alive releasing, replacing the Jungle Pocket. Then Almond Eye comes out. This is the new Generalist card, so it will replace a Condor Pasa. And then Dream Journey, this is an Encloser Specialist card, and the only card that Encloser had for like 8 months straight, unfortunately, when it comes to speed cards. So after Dream Journey comes out, you will switch it to Air Groove, or a more modern card. Air Groove is just more of a generalist for everybody. So that is like the plan in general for the speed cards if you are looking at it from the perspective of an Encloser player. Unfortunately, in the current day JP, you cannot use Dream Journey because the newest scenario, which is Beyond Dreams, heavily pushes you to use cards that have 2 skill point bonus, which is Almond Eye and Air Groove. Unfortunately, Encloser right now is relatively weak, but this is basically a way for you to understand, oh, this is the timeline. I should basically understand, oh, this is the banners that I'm going to be probably pulling for, because these cards have the longest longevity, especially very important for the speed cards because they are the most competitive. Usually your borrow slot should never be a speed card unless it is something like Taiki speed if you are a front runner player or a pace chaser in general. So the limited cards, or like the niche cards that are speed, those are borrowable. But the main cards, such as let's say Jungle Pocket Speed, this is not borrowable. You have to pull for this card, or else you will realize, wait, I hate myself already for not pulling for Jungle Pocket. How many of you right now, currently, like even including myself, how many of you and me regret not pulling for Nartat Abroad? A lot of us, because of how good Firm Course Menace is. Even if the longevity of Nartat Abroad was not the best, I would just recommend pulling on a card that has at least 2 scenarios shelf time when it comes to speed cards. So Jungle Pocket is a very very good card too for Enclosers. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the speed cards. As for the stamina cards, it is very very simple. Like, I think most people already know these two. There's also the Sounds of Earth, but I would just say if you have Maximum Break Super Creek and you do not have the budget, you should skip Sounds of Earth. You don't really need it. Then it is very very simple. Super Creek is like all the way here. If you do not have Super Creek and you also are planning on playing an Encloser and still do not have Mr. CB at Maximum Break, then this is a very very good banner to pull for. And then you pull for Air Shocker over here with Maximum Break, of course, because this is the essentially the updated version of Super Creek. It has the pretty much the exact same gold, except the gold skill gives you speed with stamina, which of course is just better than Swinging Mushroom. So again, Air Shocker is very very strong. You should pull for it. Then we have 2 borrow cards. This is the currently like the best in slot stamina card for Enclosers, which is Gold Chip. If you are playing Orfever, you have to use this card, by the way. Anyways, Duramante Stamina. This card gives you 2 skills for Enclosers, which is very very strong. These 2 are mid-game skills and you will get a lot of value off of it. This is a borrow card, and also the Stamina Gold Chip because it has the Enroaching Shadow, and this is like the only up-to-date card that gives you Enroaching Shadow. So this is a very very important card. However, it releases so fast to another very strong card, so I would not recommend you pull on it, because in general my opinion is that in Umamusume you pull for wit and speed cards in general, while also pulling for some specific cards like these scenario link cards, maybe some power cards if that power card is extremely strong. Anyways, that is pretty much it when it comes to understanding the stamina cards. By the way, if you are confused, you could look at a game Tura, filter by specific gold skills, filter by specific distances. I would show you this after I'm done in order to understand, oh, this card sounds good on paper. Let me just figure out if this card is actually worth it, etc. etc. As for the power cards, if you are like looking at it from an encloser perspective, Daiichi Rupee Power is very strong for sprint and mile because of lightning speed. This is a very strong card, and you will probably borrow this because power cards in general, until the release of Nishino Power, are like not really used that often. While yes, there are in general people using power cards in mile distance tracks and sprint distance tracks too, so it is understandable. However, power cards are still situational, on my opinion. This Hishi Amazon card gives you Enroaching Shadow, and this is going to be the first card that does it. So it is essentially having to use this card just to get access to Enroaching Shadow, which is extremely strong skill. Then you have Nishino Flower. This is a scenario link card with Yoi Akikawa for the Grand Food Festival scenario. This is the start of where they are pushing the power cards to be extremely good and requires you to be on the deck. This is a scenario where all the champions meeting are sprint and mile for the most part. So Nishino Flower had a long longevity because of that. So in the current day JP version, it's either Tabomo Cross Power or Neo Universe Power in medium distance tracks. So in general, for Neo Universe, it's because of Luminance. This skill is extremely busted because if you proc 13 skills in the medium distance track, you get 0.35 current speed increase, which is very strong. It is one of the best skills in the entire game. And then you have Tamomo Cross. This is a scenario link card for Design Your Island. Unfortunately for enclosers, they are behind in terms of a speed and a power card. Unfortunately, they will probably release a power card soon for enclosers, maybe a speed card in the far future, but essentially Tamomo Cross is going to be the current best in slot for power for enclosers. Then we have current day GP for the Guts cards. It is very simple for Guts because Orfever and Stay Gold are essentially the exact same, essentially, but Stay Gold just has better hints overall, and it's just more modern in terms of numbers. This is the 3rd year anniversary card. This card is essentially the first card to officially beat High Aurora in terms of growth in everything. This card is just very strong, and it's going to be used until Stay Gold Guts. Stay Gold Guts is currently the generalist in terms of Guts card, which of course is great. And then the newly released Daring Tact Within card. This card is still fresh. There is not really that much data when it comes to this card. This is a mile and sprint oriented card, but it will probably be good depending on the environment of the Champions Meeting and League of Heroes. It just depends if they are going to be releasing mile or sprint distance tracks. It depends. And then for the wick cards, it's very simple. Currently we have Mr. CB. Mr. CB is the strongest wick card in general for enclosers. Then you have Measure Ramano. You could solo Measure Ramano in Project Lark, or you could use the Mr. CB alongside Measure Ramano if you want Daring Strike, which of course is a valid idea. Then you have Narta Taishin Wet. This is going to be the card that you will probably use for the longest time possible. For like this card lasted for a very long time because it has Enroaching Shadow and it's a wick card. So this card will be on your deck for a very long time, and if the Uma has Enroaching Shadow innately on their kit, then Rudolph's Wit could be a good card to pull for because it has Swinging Metro, which eliminates needing to use a stamina card for the most part if you have some stamina sparks, but this card is very good statistic in general. So if the Uma does have Enroaching Shadow, then you could use Rudolph Wet instead of Notation Wet. However, Notation Wet is probably better for enclosure players. Then you have the Randall Wet. The Randall Wet is actually usable at 0 limit break because this card is like very, very like the story of this card is like very crazy because this card releases, then like 2 months later they release this card. You could probably justify skipping this card and just borrow it. That is completely justifiable. But just know that this card is usable at 0 limit break. Then the current day JP, it's the Forever Young. This is the strongest wick card of all time, by the way. Whatever you do, do not borrow this card. You want this card to be max limit break, and if you do not pull for this card, then I don't know what you're doing. This is a journalist wick card that just is so strong that you don't even use any other wick card at all. This just solo carries your entire wit. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the cards. I know I have talked and yapped a lot about cards, but you could be confused. Again, I will go back into Game Tura and filter it by specifics so that you understand, oh, this card is good, this card is not good. I will help you understand how to determine if a card is good or not. Anyways, that's pretty much it in terms of cards. So the only use for the crystals, by the way, since I have seen a lot of people question about the usages for the crystal, is that it is an emergency if your pulls went extremely bad or extremely good. It just depends. So here, for example, let's say I pulled 400 on, let's say, the Yoi Akakawa and Nishino Flower banner, okay? I only got like 2 limit break Nishino Flower, or like 2 limit break Yoi Akakawa, but max limit break Nishino Flower. Then you probably would have to use a crystal to get Yoi Akakawa to 3 limit break. This is essentially the usages of the crystal, is that like has a backup if stuff goes wrong. Or if you are looking at it from a card like Super Creek, oh my god, I need to get max limit break Super Creek, and you have like 2 limit break, you pull on Mr. CB, you only get 1 copy, then it is worth to use a crystal too. That is like an example too for that part. So the last point that I want to talk about when it comes to the plan is actually very simple, and that is the parents. So what is the parents in general for the enclosures, late surgers, etc, etc? It's not really that much. You could justify skipping one of them and just hoping that somebody else makes a very good borrow off of these specific Umas, but I wouldn't really bank on it. I would highly recommend to pull on some of them at least, if not all of them. If you are a spender, then you could use your selectors on these and skip their banners, but this is essentially what I would recommend. This is not a lot of Umas, but I would highly recommend pulling on Jungle Pocket, because this is a semi-limited character. And what semi-limited character is that you can't use the selector on them at all, but they appear on banners. So after the Jungle Pocket banner goes away, you cannot pretty much get Jungle Pocket outside of off banner. And good luck hitting an off banner 3-star Uma. Off banner. It's going to be extremely tedious. So I would highly recommend pulling for Jungle Pocket. If you are looking at it from an enclosure perspective, again, this is all like an like at this point, this is like an enclosure pull plan video, but this is pretty much it. Sakura L'Oreal for the long distance tracks, I have already talked about her in the late surgery video. Neo Universe is very strong because of 8 Astra, is extremely good inheritance for medium distance tracks. Nice Nature New Year's is very, very strong too, because in medium distance tracks you get current speed, which is very, very strong. Elsewise, you can also get target speed increase, which also is 0.25. This is very, very strong. As for the other Umas, I would highly recommend Crispus Admire Vega. This Uma gives you a 0.2 acceleration if you are in the final corner and you are 4th or below. So basically, this is angling and skimming if you're an encloser for sprint and mile. Maybe also the Japan Derby, because the Derby final corner is also relatively close. So this is a very very strong skill in general. So yeah, I would highly recommend pulling for America Christmas, because here's the thing, okay? I don't know what it is currently on Uma or like people in general when it comes to playing this game. I don't know why the hell enclosers do not have really that good parents. So I would recommend pulling on them, because you get spark rerolling, you also get spark lock, you get other stuff that makes it so that making parents is very 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 simple compared to now. So I would just recommend just making your own parents instead of relying on borrows, unless you have a group of friends that also play enclosers and going to use the same parent that you are looking for. Outside of that, I would recommend pulling at least some of these parents. So now I will go to Game Tura and let you understand what exactly and how exactly to determine if a card is good or not. Okay, here is an example. If you do not understand how to get the good cards from, this is like the Japanese version. Let's say you are trying to figure out your own pool plan at the start to get a prototype. Maybe ask like somebody that knows the game more than you do to see, oh hey, I have made this pool plan. Is this a good pool plan? Or like get like some feedback and then like alternate until you get to the point where yes, now I feel confident about myself. So let's say you are looking for a front runner card, just so that we change up of pace over here compared to usual. So it is very very simple. You see by filters, this is the Game Tura website. This is a very excellent website, on my opinion. But pretty much is that you want to look for must provide a front runner gold skill. This will filter all the cards and then give you only the cards that give you the gold skill of a front runner card exclusive skill. This is very very easy. Let's say for example you are looking for, I don't know, maybe you're looking for this Daiwa Wick card. I already know what this card does, but let's say you do not know what this card does. So we will just pop this card over here and pop it to maximum break, because at this point the game heavily wants you to pull on maximum break cards for the most part, especially if you are running front, because front is the unfortunately like the most well strategy, but that is pretty much it. Anyways, this card has a unique effect where you get one extra whip bonus at every skill increasing speed. So target speed increase and current speed increase skills will give you one whip bonus. So you want to buy 3 skills earlier on to max this out. So that's very very strong. 40% friendship bonus, very very strong. 30 initial friendship gauge, very very strong. This is hint level 4, but in actuality this is max hints, so very 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 strong. 60 hint the frequency goes well with the hint levels. 80 specialty priority on a wick card, that is very very actually like wow. 5 friendship recovery, okay, nice. Mood effect is nice. Training effectiveness is nice. As you can clearly see at 0 limit break, okay, I'm sorry, at 0 limit break you don't have either skill point bonus or training effectiveness. At 3 limit break I assume this is going to be 5, yep, and at max is going to be 10. So this number and this number, sorry, this number, this number, and this number, the more scenarios that we pass, the more valuable it becomes. So the 5% training effectiveness here is like a couple hundred, not, yeah, maybe a couple hundred stats on a run in current day GP. So it is very very needed, pretty much. So this card very very good on paper. Let's see the hints. The hints is very simple. Zero adept from our corners, leader's pride, playtime's over. Opening leg adept is basically straight away adept, but only in the second half of the early game. As you can see, the condition, second half of the early game. Spearhead, this is a skill that is on the second half of the early game. You will get target speed increase because you are a front runner character. So basically open leg, but also for front only. Finale, what is finale? On the long distance track, if you are a front runner player, in the final in the first half of the late race on the final spurt. So this line means is that in the first half of the final spurt, you will get a current speed increase. So that is a good skill. Let's see, no hesitation. You get, let's see, okay. If you are third on a straight on the last spurt one, this is if you can put yourself on the last spurt. So this is actually a relatively good skill because this is basically enroaching shadow for front on long distance tracks. So that is very, very strong. Firm resolve, let's see. Long distance track. In the quarter, okay, the first quarter of the late race is when you can proc it if you're fifth or above. So this is very, very, very strong skill actually, because you combine it with the no hesitation. You also combine it with finale. So this is a card that is very good in general, but it has more flavors when it comes to long distance tracks. So this is a long distance tracks front runner card. I actually did not know this card was a long distance tracks oriented card that gives you also other skills, but here we are. As for the gold skills, yes, in the Japanese version, in the future, usually cards give you two gold skills instead of one. Sometimes there are three even. So the first chain straightaway front runner straightaways, which is good because you don't get it from the hempel. You only get front runner corners here. So that is something good. Here you get featured act or fast pace. It depends on probably the CM, but featured act for long. Otherwise you go with fast pace. So that is very, very strong. As for the final one, this is you only have the choice between one of these two. So it's either you pick the top option and you get the gold version of no hesitation, or you go with top runner, which is of course very nice. So if you want top runner, you can go top runner if it is a medium distance tracks, mile or sprint. If long, then probably you want to get the one sky, one goal. So that is an example. Let's say you want to look out for a card that is okay, what I said there is like a card that gives you good front runner skills only. Now let's sort it by end closer. As you can see, it's not sorting something like Daiichi Ruby Power, which is something that, oh wait, I want to know what card for specific distance. Then you simply go here and sort it by mile. Now you only get skills that give you mile distance tracks, and as you can see, during Tact was here. Where is it? Daiichi Ruby Power is here. Measure or Amano is here too, because it is a mile and a medium gold skill. So let's see. This is a free to play card. Let's see. Let's say which card? Maybe this card, Taiki Shuttle. This is a gacha card because it doesn't say like level 40 from what I assume. So this is a wick card, and let's see the numbers. 30% friendship bonus, 35 initial friendship gauge, 65 special superiority, nice. 10% trading effectiveness, hint level 3. That means that, hint level 2, you get an additional level from the raw hint, so you only need 2 to max out on a hint. Let's see. It's hint level 2 at level 30, which is of course nice, but again, trading effectiveness is important. This card has 2 whip bonus and max limit break compared to 1 limit break. 3 limit break where it's 1, so you need to get it to max limit break for that hint with bonus. So that is very interesting. Decent off trainings and good friendship. So let's see. Some mile skills. As you can clearly see, this is some mile skills. She has groundwork, which is good for pace chasers and front runners. So the gold skill, Peerless Boldness. Let's see. This is a mile only skill. If you are in the first half of the pack, so 5th or above. At a random point in the mid game, you use you get 0.45 target speed increase but consume stamina. This is straight course. This is by the way, this is a meme skill, so I wouldn't really recommend this skill outside of Negayara 1000, by the way. So yeah, prepared to pass. Okay, let's see the chains. Oh, this is one of these types of cards where this is one of these types of cards where you have the option to go to the bottom and in the chain to allow your other support cards to finish their chain, or if this is like the final chain or you do not have that much like opportunity of other cards, maybe the other cards have finished their chains, you could get the common version of that skill, I assume, and then you get it more hints for the gold version. So this card on paper sounds good. The release date. Okay, the release date. So I want to let you understand if this card is worth to pull for. This is a mild distance tracks only skill. Generally, distance track skills are borrow cards. The other example of a card that is a borrow card for mile is Taki Shuttle Speed. This is a good card on paper, but this is only used for like 2 CMs. So this is a borrow card in general because it has Mile Maven. And it also has Speed Eater, which is of course strong, shifting gears. So this is a front runner, pace chaser oriented card. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to this card. So I hope this lets you understand in general how to basically get the baseline of your pool plan. I would probably not recommend looking around this section over here, but instead look at cards that give you front runner skills, pace chaser skills, because the strategy skills often are more used compared to like distance specific skills. Unless the skill is like medium long, mile, medium, like Measure Romano for example. If we go to Measure Romano, this is a mile and a medium skill, ascendance, very very strong. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to understanding how a card is good. And most importantly is that in general you need to look at your budget and understand, once you get the look at the cards and see, this card is good for specific tracks, maybe it's worth putting this card on my list but only has a borrow card, etc, etc. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to understanding your cards. Next up is very very important note, and that is understanding your budget. This is going to be a copy of Henry Hansom's Derby's calculator. This is going to be posted on the link of this will be posted on the description. If you want to go for it, then you should check out Henry Hansom and get the correct calculator from one of his videos. This is a very very good calculator. By the way, the correct number over here was for the specific person that I wanted to talk about way earlier. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Understand your budget. You want to put the settings that you have. This is the settings that I used it for that person since they had it on displayed. So I just copied it and then came up with my own pool plan. But very importantly, while using this calculator, you should turn on all of these over here. These will be important. Trigger this, this, and this, because it helps you understand more when it comes to, I can pull with tickets. I cannot pull with tickets on specific banners. As you can clearly see, if once we get to Gold Ship Summer, for example, the estimate is going to be that I have about 104 tickets when I go to the Gold Ship Summer banner. And for the Agas Tekken Allah Halal banner, I would have about 133 tickets. Then you have to clearly see it says 18, because it would assume that you will use your tickets here. As you can clearly see, that is something you should keep out an eye for. By the way, these, as you can clearly see, this is a really long pull plan, but unfortunately I tried to optimize it where you could pull on some parents, but with the current settings, it is rough. Anyways, if you disable all of these, for example, maybe you will see that. No, that is still fine. No. Hold on. Wrong thing. Oh, I don't care. Sorry. This will ignore tickets. So, you will not pull with tickets. I think you can clearly see the start of the dream journey of vodka. As you can clearly see over here, you will start to have issues when it comes to tickets. It will not display that you use your tickets on the banner, so the carats will not be enough to pull on this banner. But if we enable usages with tickets, you suddenly realize, wait, the dream journey banner that I couldn't pull for, I could pull with tickets. I would say that the UMA tickets and the support card tickets are extremely valuable, and you should always save them, because you never know that your carats might not be enough. You use tickets instead to take the bullet instead. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video, while it's literally and it was mostly for the late surge, the encloser player, for example, this was for a friend and also for a different person, so I just decided to do it for 2 people with 1 stone, I guess is what you can say. So that is pretty much it. I hope that you could understand how to find a card that is relatively good, what could be a borrow card, what could be a card that you pull for, etc, etc. And if you found this video to be helpful, consider subscribing and consider joining the community server linked in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next one.